Captain Elias Drake's boots echoed on the polished floors of the Zitharan palace as he walked beside the guards. The walls shimmered with colors that seemed to change as he moved, alien crystals embedded in the surfaces reflecting soft lights. Elias had traveled to many worlds, but Zithara felt different. There was beauty, yes, but also an unspoken tension in the air, a weight of expectation that made even a seasoned human like him cautious. The alien queen, Elithra, awaited him in the grand hall. Her presence was commanding, a mixture of regality and sharp intellect. Her skin glimmered with faint iridescence, her large eyes studying Elias like a predator sizing up prey. She did not speak immediately, simply gesturing for him to approach. Elias bowed slightly out of respect, even as he reminded himself that humans and Zitharans were technically allies. Captain Drake, the Queen's voice was melodic but edged with authority. We welcome you to Zithara. Tell me, what brings humanity to our world? Elias straightened. Your Majesty, I am here to discuss trade agreements and mutual cooperation between our peoples. My goal is to ensure safety and prosperity for both our worlds. The Queen tilted her head slightly, her gaze piercing. Safety and prosperity are noble goals, but your kind often underestimates our customs. You must understand our ways to truly be helpful. Elias nodded, confident yet careful. I am here to learn. I want to understand Zitharan culture so that we may work together. As they spoke, a sudden commotion erupted near the entrance. Guards shouted, and a small figure darted into the hall, moving faster than any adult Zitharan. The figure was a child, not more than 6 cycles old, with wide, fearful eyes. The child's movements were frantic, almost desperate, until suddenly the child stopped and cried out, "Dad!" Elias froze. His heart skipped a beat. He looked down at the small alien whose arms stretched toward him. The hall went silent. Even the Queen's expression froze into disbelief. I don't understand, Elias said, kneeling slightly to appear less intimidating. I think you're lost. Who's your family? The child shook its head, tears streaming down a pale, glowing face. I don't want anyone but you. The Queen's shock turned into anger, her voice sharp as a whip. Child, come back here this instant. This human is no parent to you. But the child refused. It clung to Elias's legs, sobbing and whispering, I'm scared. Please don't leave me. Elias looked around. The palace guards hesitated, unsure of how to act. Elias realized that the child had escaped from some danger, perhaps from the factions that often tried to challenge the Queen's authority. Whatever it was, the child needed protection, and Elias had no intention of letting harm come to it. He gently lifted the child into his arms. It's okay. I won't let anyone hurt you. You're safe with me. The Queen's expression hardened. Captain Drake, return the child at once. Do you have any idea what this means? I'm trying to help, Elias replied carefully. The child is terrified. I cannot simply hand it over. The tension in the room was palpable. The court advisors whispered among themselves. Elias, a human outsider, was now entangled in a deeply personal matter within the royal family. The Queen, though powerful, had never encountered such a direct challenge to her authority from a foreigner, and certainly not one involving her own child. Later, in his quarters aboard the Valor, Elias sat with the child, whose small body trembled in his lap. The child's eyes followed every movement with a mixture of fear and awe. Can you tell me your name? Elias asked softly. Leary, the child whispered. I ran away. They wanted me to do something. Bad, Elias frowned. Who wanted that? Can you tell me? Leary shook its head. I don't know. I just wanted you. You're the only one who can keep me safe. Elias's mind raced. Humans had never encountered anything like this. The child's attachment was not natural according to Zitharan culture. There was something unique about Leary, something extraordinary. Elias realized that protecting this child could not just be about immediate safety. It might reveal something far more important. Over the next few days, Elias worked to earn Leary's trust. He taught the child simple games, shared stories of his own childhood, and demonstrated that he was reliable, brave, and patient. Leary, in turn, slowly opened up, revealing flashes of intelligence, creativity, and a curiosity unusual for Zitharan children. Meanwhile, the Queen observed from afar, her curiosity and concern growing. Her advisors whispered warnings. This human is dangerous, one said. He interferes in our family matters. She is drawn to him, another remarked quietly. in ways we do not understand. The queen, however, could not deny the truth she saw with her own eyes. Lyri's bond with Elias was undeniable. The child laughed, smiled, and even whispered secrets only to him. The queen found herself wrestling with disbelief, fear, and a strange sense of hope. One afternoon, as Elias and Lyri explored the palace gardens, Lyri suddenly stopped, staring at Elias with wide eyes. I think you are my dad," the child said softly, almost afraid to speak the words aloud. Elias froze, unsure how to respond. The words carried weight beyond explanation. "Your dad?" he echoed. "Lyri, I don't know if that's possible." Lyri's small hands held onto his coat tightly. "I feel it. When I saw you, I knew you were mine. I can't explain, but I know it." Elias's mind raced. Centuries of human and alien history, genetic possibilities, and the mystery of the Zitharan lineage all seemed to converge in this one moment. How could a human and a Zitharan child share such a connection? He had no answers. Only the certainty that he would protect this child no matter what. The queen appeared then, her steps quiet but deliberate. Her eyes met Elias's, and for the first time, there was vulnerability in her gaze. "Explain this," she demanded, her voice trembling slightly though still commanding. "Why does my child call you father?" Elias looked at her honestly. "Your Majesty, I do not know. But I promise I will keep Lyri safe. No one will harm them while I am here." For a moment the queen said nothing. Her advisors shifted uneasily, sensing that the balance of power had shifted in an unexpected way. The queen finally spoke, softer than before. "I need to understand this. I will observe, but do not forget, Captain, my patience has limits." Elias nodded. "I understand. I will not overstep. I only seek to protect this child." Days passed, and Lyri's attachment to Elias grew stronger. She laughed at his stories, followed him wherever he went, and even began to imitate some of his human gestures, much to the amusement of the crew aboard the Valor. The queen watched silently, sometimes from a distance, sometimes closer, trying to understand how a human could have such an influence on her child. Then, one night, alarms rang throughout the palace. A hostile faction had infiltrated the outer walls, intending to capture Lyri and use her as leverage against the queen. Elias, trained for combat and strategy, immediately took charge. He coordinated palace defenses, guided the royal guards, and positioned himself between the attackers and Lyri. Lyri, frightened but determined, stayed close to Elias, whispering, "You're my dad. You'll protect me, right?" Elias smiled reassuringly. "Always, Lyri, I've got you." The battle was brief but intense. With human ingenuity and quick thinking, Elias helped the Zitharan guards repel the intruders. The queen witnessed his bravery firsthand, understanding that this human was not merely a guest or outsider. He was someone who could think, act, and care in ways that even her best advisors could not. After the danger passed, the palace was quiet once more. Lyri hugged Elias tightly, exhausted but safe. The queen approached, her expression unreadable at first, then softened. She knelt slightly, a gesture almost human in its humility. "Captain Drake, you have done what none of us could. You have protected my child." Elias shook his head. "I didn't do it for recognition. I did it because it was the right thing to do. Lyri needed help and I couldn't turn away." For a long moment the queen said nothing. Then she straightened, her gaze thoughtful. "Perhaps humans are more capable than I have given them credit for." Lyri smiled up at Elias. "See? I told you. You're my dad." Elias laughed softly, holding the child close. "Maybe not by blood, but I will always be here for you. That's what matters." The queen watched them, feeling an unfamiliar warmth. She did not yet understand the bond fully, but she realized that this human, this outsider, had changed everything. As night fell over Zithara, the palace glowed under the twin moons. Elias sat with Lyri, telling stories of Earth and the stars beyond, while the queen observed silently, thinking of the strange new path that lay ahead. Something had shifted, something that could alter the future of both human and Zitharan worlds. And it all began with a small child running to a human, crying, "Dad." The morning light spilled across the palace gardens, casting long shadows over the alien flora. Elias Drake sat on a stone bench, Lyri at his side, her small fingers intertwined with his. The child's eyes sparkled with curiosity, a mixture of human emotion and alien wonder that never ceased to amaze him. "Tell me about your world, Dad," Larry said, her voice soft and trusting. "What is Earth like?" Elias smiled. "It's a big world full of oceans and forests. There are mountains taller than anything you've seen here, and rivers that stretch for hundreds of cycles. But what I remember most is that people help each other. That's what matters." Leary's eyes widened. "Like you help me?" "Yes, exactly like that," Elias replied, ruffling her hair gently. Their quiet moment was interrupted by a soft hum of approaching footsteps. The alien queen, Elithra, emerged from the shadows, her expression unreadable. Elias rose to his feet, instinctively placing himself slightly in front of Larry. "Captain Drake," the queen began, her tone measured. "I have observed the bond between you and my child. I admit it is extraordinary. But you must understand the court still questions this. Many fear the influence of a human upon our future." Elias nodded. "I understand your concerns, Your Majesty. But I am not here to interfere with your rule. I am here to protect and guide as Larry needs." The queen studied him, her glowing eyes searching for any sign of deceit. She found none. Instead, she saw courage, empathy, and unwavering commitment. "Perhaps," she said finally, "it is time you understood the full truth of Leary's situation." Elias tilted his head. "I am ready to listen." She gestured for them to follow her into the inner chambers of the palace. There the queen revealed ancient Zitharan archives, records written in a shimmering script that only a few could interpret. She explained that centuries ago a human research team had visited Zithara in a collaboration meant to foster understanding between species. They had left traces of human DNA in Zitharan embryos, an experiment lost to time. "Leary is one of the rare results of that experiment," the queen said quietly. "Your connection is not natural by our usual laws, but it is real. You carry a bond that transcends time and species." Elias absorbed the information, his mind racing with questions. "So that explains why Larry feels this way. It's genetic?" "Yes," the queen replied, "but it is more than that. It is a combination of nature and fate. The bond is powerful and it cannot be broken by ordinary means." Larry's small hands clutched Elias's arm. "See, I told you. I wasn't wrong." Elias smiled down at her. "You weren't wrong, Larry, you were right all along." Before they could discuss further, an alarm blared throughout the palace. Sensors had detected movement near the outer walls. Hostile forces were attempting another infiltration. This time it was clear they aimed to capture Leary and use her as leverage to overthrow the queen. Elias sprang into action. "Leary, stay close to me," he said, his voice steady. "I've got you." The queen's eyes widened. "You intend to face them directly?" "Yes, Your Majesty. They won't get past us." With the palace guards at his side, Elias devised a plan. Using a combination of human tactics and Zitharan technology, he set traps, barricades, and diversions to protect Leary and the inner palace. The child, though frightened, insisted on helping in small ways, handing him tools, pointing out hidden entrances, and even distracting intruders with clever tricks she had observed from watching Elias. The attack came swiftly. Shadowy figures moved through the palace corridors. But Elias and the guards were ready. With precision and coordination, Elias led countermeasures, guiding the defenders and anticipating the intruders' moves. Laser nets, force fields, and strategic maneuvers forced the attackers into retreat. Larry's courage shone in these moments, her small presence reminding everyone that the child she was could not be underestimated. After the last intruder was captured, Elias checked on Leary. She was safe, tired, but smiling. "You did it," she whispered. "You saved everyone." Elias ruffled her hair. "We did it together." "You were brave too, Leary." The queen approached, her expression softer than it had ever been. She looked at Elias with new understanding. "Captain Drake, you have demonstrated loyalty, bravery, and wisdom beyond any outsider I have ever known. My child is safe because of you, and I am in your debt." Elias shook his head. "I did not act for reward. I acted because it was right. Leary needed help, and I could not turn away." For the first time, the queen allowed a small smile. "Perhaps humans are more capable than I have given them credit for. Perhaps we can learn from one another." In the following weeks, the bond between Elias and Larry deepened. She learned human stories, games, and ways of thinking that complemented her Zitharan upbringing. He, in turn, learned about Zitharan culture, science, and the complexities of their political structure. Their relationship became a bridge between species, a living example of cooperation and understanding. The Queen, once wary and distrustful, began to include Elias in matters of strategy and governance. She sought his counsel, respecting his intelligence and perspective. Court advisors murmured, some in admiration, some in unease, but none could deny the transformation occurring within the palace. One quiet evening, as twin moons rose over the city, Elias and Lyri sat atop a balcony overlooking the palace gardens. Lyri leaned against him, her small head resting on his shoulder. "Do you think the Queen will be okay with us, Dad?" she asked, her voice uncertain. Elias smiled. "She's learning, Lyri, and I think she sees that we're not a threat. We're a chance for something new. A chance to show that humans and Zitherans can be stronger together." Lyri's eyes sparkled with hope. "I'm glad you're my dad." Elias chuckled softly. "I'm glad too, and I promise I'll always be here for you, no matter what." The Queen watched them from a distance, her mind reflective. The events of the past days had changed everything. She realized that the strength of humans was not just in technology or power, but in courage, empathy, and unwavering commitment to what is right. She understood now that alliances were not built solely on treaties, but on trust, respect, and shared purpose. In the days that followed, the palace settled into a new rhythm. Lyri continued to grow under the guidance of both Elias and the Queen. The hostile factions had been quelled, and the palace guards had learned new tactics from the human captain. Trade negotiations, previously tense and formal, began to flourish under Elias's mediation. Elias found himself becoming more than a visitor. He was a mentor, a protector, and a bridge between worlds. His reputation among humans grew as stories of his courage and wisdom spread, and among Zitherans he became a symbol of trust and cooperation. One afternoon, Lyri approached the Queen with a question. "Mother, do you think Dad will always be with me?" The Queen studied Elias, who nodded reassuringly. "I will always be here for you, Lyri. You are my responsibility, and I care for you deeply." The Queen looked at her child and then at Elias. A sense of peace settled over her, rare and profound.
"Yes," she said finally, "he will be here."
Perhaps this is how the future must begin, through understanding and courage, not fear or suspicion. Elias held Lyri's hand as they walked through the palace halls, the child skipping ahead with excitement. The Queen followed, her steps lighter than before. A new era had begun, one where humans and Zitherans could face challenges together, guided by trust and shared purpose. As night fell over Zithera, Elias gazed up at the stars from the palace balcony. He thought of Earth, of the vast universe, and of the unexpected journey that had brought him here. A child running to him, calling him Dad, had changed everything. He smiled, feeling a sense of fulfillment he had never known. He was not just a protector or a visitor. He was part of something greater, something that could shape the future of two worlds. Lyri hugged him tightly, her small voice whispering, "I love you, Dad." Elias held her close, looking at the stars and feeling a warmth that spread through his chest. "I love you too, Lyri, always." In that moment, under the glow of twin moons, the human captain, the alien child, and the Queen stood together, united by courage, trust, and a bond that defied expectation. The universe was vast and uncertain, but for the first time it seemed full of hope, and so, the story of Elias Drake and Lyri, the child who had run to a human crying Dad, became a legend among Zitherans and humans alike. A tale of bravery, compassion, and the extraordinary power of trust across worlds.